What's up out there, YouTubers? Need you to subscribe to Raze Chaos. It'll be peak-erific.
And welcome back, everybody. My name is Raze Chaos, and you have made it back to my channel. And today, we are going to talk about a really great DC family. That's kind of how I put it. You can already tell right here. You can see these are coming from the TV show. This is Black Lightning. And Black Lightning is one of those characters that's cool no matter how little they use him. But we're going to talk about the show a little bit. We're going to talk about the characters. And we're going to break these in. We're going to have a look at these guys. We're going to put you aside because I got to tear these guys out. And here they are. Here they are. This is all. This is the line of pops that they've made for the Black Lightning TV show, and I cannot complain a bit about this. I loved that show. Like with any CW show, it dipped in the middle. I want to say the second and third seasons weren't quite as exciting as the first and final season. But I'm glad they were able to understand that the final season was the final season and give it a good wrap up and be able to plan it from the very start, from the very beginning of the season. It was a very exciting thing, and everybody in it did a great job. But since we've got so many to go through, we're going to go ahead and take these out. And first up, we have got the Big Papa himself, Black Lightning. This is a character that was created way back in the 70s. And Black Lightning was created by a creator who wasn't really too well known, but he was very smart. When DC decided they wanted to make a black superhero to go in there, they didn't want the Power Man, the way Luke Cage came out. He was a stereotype, honestly, when he first came out, all the way down to his origin story where he was wrongfully prisoned and went through an experiment, became power. Yeah, they didn't want to do that kind of thing with their hero, so they had a person come in to create Black Lightning. They brought in a black man to create Black Lightning, and that man was a little ahead of his time because he had enough of a foresight to go ahead and trademark the character and make sure that he had a stamp on it like most characters didn't get. Therefore, anytime they used Black Lightning, they had to give him a kickback. And that is why in the Super Friends, you have Black Vulcan and not Black Lightning, which is essentially the same character design. And to be perfectly honest, they would have used him the exact same way had his name been Black Lightning. But they had him kept, and it actually kept him from being used a lot more than it should have. But when they created him, I have the original Black Lightning series, and there were several problems with it, but a lot of that first storyline that was written by his creator is reflected in the actual TV series. And I gotta give a shout out to the Big Crest that freaking played this character. He did an excellent job of showing himself as not only a superhero, but also a father of two teenage girls, father of two teenage black girls, being a black teacher in the modern day. Not even just a teacher, he was the principal. So you've got a lot weighing on this man, and this actor he acted the crap out of that part. He raised a bar as far as superhero characters go. And there were plenty of callbacks in the comics when he first came out. Black Lightning really kind of one of the inspirations of him going out and fighting crime is his love of Superman. And in the comics, Black Lightning originates in the suicide slum of Metropolis. So Superman is a presence that he knows, but he doesn't think that presence seems to reach into the inner cities. So yeah, while I didn't really particularly think that it was needed because, the actor is so huge, he has a great big presence, I didn't really think it necessitated quite the bulky suit that they put him in, because this man would be scary if he's standing over you. He towered over everybody, even in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover that they did in the Arrowverse. Black Lightning was the biggest guy there, and you could tell. So yeah, he played the crap out of the character. I really cannot complain too much about him. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I'd love to see him do a major motion picture as Black Lightning. Yeah, he's Black Lightning to me no matter what. So that's Big Papa out the way. And yeah, he's one of the reasons why I am going to miss that series, even though it did veer quite a bit. And I think next up we are going to go with Tobias Whale. Tobias Whale, honestly, if you had asked me about him before this series came out, I would have told you he was a Kingpin ripoff. And that's pretty much what he was in the comics. We're going to take this guy out and have a look at him. So there's really not much to the pop. He's a dude wearing a suit, and that's pretty much all there is to it. He is an albino, which kind of makes for kind of the whale aspect, where he's the white whale. But yeah, it's like basically the comics didn't really do a great job of showing him beyond being a crime boss. But Lex Luthor was a crime boss for a while there. Kingpin is the most obvious character. You had plenty of crime bosses, and they changed him several times in the comics and in other adaptations. I believe he makes an appearance in the Batman Brave and the Bold animated series, where he was kind of a slug or something. But it wasn't until you had this actor take this role and make Tobias Whale a terrifying character. That was probably one of the biggest things I rolled my eyes at when I was watching the first season. When I saw Tobias Whale, I was like, really? That's what they're going to keep? But he is the original villain, and he was the one that was perfect once they used him correctly. And he is a thorn all the way through in the series, all the way up until the final season. He was the major boss that Black Lightning needed to fight. And the actor really had a huge hand in that. I will say that all day long, because I even tried checking out some of the old Tobias Whale stuff that I have in the Raze Chaos collection. And yeah, even rereading some of that, it was just kind of like, he really isn't terrifying. But this guy was. The one in the show was very, very terrifying. And makes him an excellent collection into this DC universe that Raze builds. Next up, gonna go in the order of first appearances in comics. We're gonna go with Thunder, Black Lightning's oldest daughter, who first appeared in the Outsiders with a pedigree of the one that Nightwing ran, with the obviously the strong pedigree of being Black Lightning's daughter. She's awesome. She was awesome from the very get-go. We're going to go ahead and take her out and have a look at her. And here she is. Here is Thunder. And she's got the stance because she is density and gravity controlling. She makes crap heavy. She makes crap light. When she stomps her foot, the world shakes. And she was a quick member of the Outsiders where she was in there, and she is a very strong character in the series. I think she is the perfect link in that show as far as younger characters involving with the old and grizzled veteran Black Lightning. She is, hey, that's not how things work anymore. And she was perfect as far as helping tie things together. And I love the fact that that series was a combination of all their origin stories, because you saw her come of age, which you didn't really get to see in the comics that much, because she just kind of appeared in the Outsiders fully formed. And in this case, you get to see her with her dad, and seeing that obviously he trained her. She's got powers. And you get to see more of that family dynamic. That's one of the interesting things about the Black Lightning family, is they just kept tossing out characters that came from Black Lightning's family. There was one in Green Arrow, there was one in the Outsiders, and there was one in the Justice Society. But you never saw them emerge from Black Lightning's character. You never saw them emerge from a central place. They all just kind of popped up. And she was definitely one of them. And in a bold choice, you could kind of tell that DC was going for something when they made her a lesbian. I mean, honestly, at first, when I was reading the story, it was just kind of like, oh, really? Are they going to do that? Okay, you've got this young black woman. She's a lesbian. Looks like they're trying to make all the diversity happen in one character. But thankfully, like, the more they expanded on her, the more interesting she became. And even so much that there is a book called The Other History of the DC Universe that really kind of shows her backstory and growing up a whole heck of a lot more. And the actress that played her, aside from being gorgeous, just totally played the crap out of them. Like, everybody in that series really kind of played the crap out of their characters. And she really embodied the daughter of a hero. And you saw her taking on that legacy. You saw her taking on more and less. And this figure is absolutely awesome. And it is definitely a prize. As being a DC fan like I am, but being a particularly fan of Black Lightning, this was, I was very excited when I saw this set coming out, and I had to gobble them up as soon as I could. So that is Thunder. And you can't have thunder without lightning. And lightning here is she almost stole the spotlight from Black Lightning, to be perfectly honest. Which is totally fine with me. I love the fact that the characters were so well developed and had such rich backstories that it was hard to tell a story. You couldn't just tell a Black Lightning story. You had to tell Black Lightning's family story. And yeah, she was another one. So we're going to go ahead and take her out and have a look at her. Lightning originally popped up in the Justice Society in one of the later incarnations, as far as the training of the new heroes of tomorrow, whatever you want to say it. And she was a being of completely of electricity. And it really kind of emphasized that Lightning here is the most powerful character in the family. And they sent him there to help her train her powers. and get her going. And in the show, they kept that, where she really is growing in to the most powerful character. The idea that she flies up into the ionosphere to absorb the electromagnetic part of the atmosphere, that that just really kind of showed who does that, who flies up there just to absorb energy. And I love the fact that when the actress was leaving the show in season 4, before she found out it was the last season, that they were able to incorporate her in limited appearances and keep the character in there the entire time, and keep her as it wasn't like they had to shoehorn her back in. They really just kind of showed, they had a whole story around the actress that came in. They had a whole story on her participation, who she was, and what she was about. And that threw me for a loop, because I thought it was a really ambitious idea, and really the only way you could have done it is by already having contracted somebody to have fewer appearances in that season. And it absolutely worked, and I absolutely love it. I love this character. You saw her growing from very beginning, where she's just a teenage girl whose daddy's the principal, into a well-rounded superhero character. Even loving the point where she actually says being a superhero sucks, and everybody pretty much agrees. And that's one of the things you almost never hear. And that's not part of most people's fantasies when they dream about being a superhero, is the complications that have it. She embodies all of it. She wears it on her sleeve. And everything that Black Lightning represents, as far as being, the dad, the principal, the superhero, is filtered down to his daughters. And that's really, really shown up. And as much as I'm sorry to see that show go, I love the fact that it's so contained and I can enjoy it. One of the things I didn't like about the show was how they incorporated, basically it was a mixture of the two origins of the daughters, a history of Black Lightning and Tobias Whale, and they threw in Batman and the Outsiders. The original story of them fighting, it's like once they started doing the Markovia stuff, I was like, why? I didn't understand it. I loved the amount of guest stars that were in there that just watching the show you wouldn't necessarily realize. It's like, hey, wait, that dude is Atomic Knight. He is a member of the Outsiders. Dr. Helga Jace, who is the individual that betrayed the Outsiders in the Millennium crossover. There were so many things in there where I'm like, oh, hey! There were so many Easter eggs for the fans. And even no matter how much you were, because Painkiller was actually a character in one of Black Lightning's old series from the 90s, but he only lasted 2 issues before he was killed. In this, he is pretty much a mainstay of the show. And even bringing back old callbacks like Gravedigger, which was a World War II character that never gets crossed over with anything. I think they've since the show came out, they have tried to bring Gravedigger back, but originally he was a soldier in World War II before they let African Americans fight in combat situations. They were only allowed to clean the trash and do menial jobs, and then somehow he gets special permission to be a Gravedigger is who I'm talking about. He gets special permission to actually become a soldier and go on the front lines and be a squad. And when I say be a squad, it's because they weren't going to integrate a black man with the rest of the soldiers. So he was the all-black squad, which was just him. And that's what his stories represented. A single man out there having to be a squad to fight the Axis forces. And he's called Gravedigger because basically that was his job before he got this special clearance to become a soldier. He was the Gravedigger for soldiers that were killed in action. And yeah, it's just like, wow. The whole story is kind of an insult to the character, but from insult grows strength, and it made him a very strong character, though not a very popular character. So it was really cool to see him in the show, even if he was being played by Wayne Brady. That was the weirdest crap. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because I've rambled on enough about these guys. Let me know if you watched this show. Let me know where it ranked. As far as CW shows, Black Lightning ranks number 2. And that's primarily because of the 2 middle seasons. The number 1 show is Stargirl because that kept its glamour all the way through it. And let me know who your favorite character from the show is. Let me know how much you've enjoyed the Black Lightning family as it's went. Tell me if you were impressed with how scary Tobias Whale was in the show versus his comic book versions. And yeah. And then give me a like on this video if you've enjoyed it. And never forget that life is full of odd moments. And you never know when you're going to be defined. I'm a C2E2! Ha ha!